Gotta cue the music, dude. Come on.
You guys remember the day that MySpace died and like Facebook just took over?
I don't
Vaguely.
remember that day, but I know that it happened.
When I went to the bar exam, I had a MySpace account. When I got done with like the bar, like 3 months, like everyone was like, "Jason, no one has MySpace anymore. It's all about Facebook." It
Well,
was
my
like,
jiu-jitsu instructor still has a MySpace account.
God, yeah. Like he still has a flip phone, too.
Live, it's Full Contact Fanatics. My name is Dondo. This is 86 next to me.
Yeah.
And a special guest in-house, the CEO of Iridium Sports Agency.
Mr. Jason House.
Mr. Jason House.
He needs 2 introductions. That's how special he is. That's
We're
right.
stoked to have the guy.
And if you haven't noticed, we're a man down. Our good friend, no, that's the wrong one. There he is, Mr. Ronnie James, who, he's a little under the weather, but get well soon, Mr. James. And, come back to us soon in one piece,
We hope
please.
you're feeling better, buddy. Hang in there.
That's right. Take
hope
care,
you're
dude. So, anywho.
Yeah, moving on. We have Jason House here in-house. No pun intended. But, learning a little bit about you. It's a pretty incredible story.
yes, sir.
Maybe you want to learn a little bit more. Can you tell us about yourself? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Diamond Bar.
Diamond Bar.
Local boy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Went to Diamond Bar High. Did football, wrestling, and baseball there.
I saw the baseball thing. You played baseball in college.
Yeah, University of Laverne.
Right on.
Nice.
That's even close to home.
Yeah.
That's
I want
right.
to stay close, really close with my parents. I wanted to stay close. I needed help in case I needed help or anything.
Oh, that's a
so.
wise
That's all
move.
good. Yeah, that's right.
Dad, I popped the tire. Hey, Dad, I need some cash.
And it sounds like you won some titles there too.
Yeah, we won back-to-back conference titles, and I honestly think I learned more on the field than I did in school during that time period.
Very cool.
I had some really great coaches that were super successful coaches, one of the most winningest coaches in all of college baseball. So
Wow.
I'm really
Wow.
lucky. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely taught me a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. How does that segue into the fight world? Was there fights going on in your life? What went on? What brought you to fighting?
To be honest, I grew up wrestling in high school and stuff, so I had a background somewhat of the wrestling aspect, and then honestly, I just missed the camaraderie that I had with baseball, the locker room, just
Sure.
the constant. So I graduated in May of 2006. I started law school in August of 2006. In December, after my first semester of school, a friend had called me, and I was bored. I was looking to drink beer somewhere, and he was like, "Hey, come to my buddy's house. They have the fights on." I didn't even know if it was boxing or UFC. I just heard beer, so I was like, "Cool."
That's my kind of party.
I'm like, I'll just show up. I'd just been stressed out my first semester of law school, so I was just looking to get out a little bit, and they had Chuck and Tito on. And then when
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that, and I was like, everyone was kind of talking, and I was trying to figure out what I was watching and understand everything. And then that next week, I signed up for a Muay Thai gym in La Puente. It was at a church, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. It was underground. He had a bunch of Muay Thai fighters, and I trained there for 6 months, and then started doing jiu-jitsu after that, and then one thing led to another.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Nice. So you're basically out of the SGV, grew up there and everything. Yeah, nice, man. Nice. That's cool.
No, I love Diamond Bar, love Laverne. Those areas definitely helped me out a lot. Like I said, I really feel like Laverne did a lot for me. They taught me a lot. So I'm real excited for everything I got from them.
Very cool.
So
Cool.
Talking about Iridium, man, you built quite a stable.
Slowly but surely.
Sure.
My first client actually was from Laverne.
Really?
Yeah. My strength coach, Coach Durant, I told him, I was like, hey, I want to be an agent. I'm going to take the bar in July, and then, if I pass, I'm just going to go straight and start doing the agency route. And he's like, really? He's like, I think, his roommate in college at Laverne, was LaRon Wilson, who trained at Millennia and Rancho Cucamonga.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, they actually went to college together, played college football together at Laverne. LaRon went to go to MMA, and the coach ended up staying doing strength conditioning there. So he told me, hey, you should meet up with LaRon, and LaRon was my first client.
Very cool.
So how exactly, I guess what I'm trying to get at, so how long did it take you to what was that whole process of
Well, what had happened was, like, my first years in law school, like, I was hating life. Like, my dad was a cop. He told me, like, I was always real good at debate. I don't know if you guys know, Laverne's debate team is like top 5 in the world.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
top 5, 10 in the world. Like, they go against like Dartmouth, Yale, like Cambridge overseas. Like it's really good. So this debate teacher was like, hey, you should come take these classes. And I was like, nah, man, I'm here to play baseball. He kept bugging me.
Yeah.
So he told me, he's like, hey, at Fridays, meet me at 7 before you go out to the parties at 9. Give me 2 hours of your time and just debate with me. Just hang out with me. So he literally tutored me for 2 years, no class, like just for fun over beers.
Chevy.
Yeah, and
Now
he
you're a
told me.
master debater.
Yeah, told me to go to law school. So I went to law school. Was hating because I think you're going to help people. I went to law school. My family raised 25 foster kids. I'm thinking, I can go help people.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, that we could serve the community and stuff. And then when you get there, you're realizing it's not really like that. It's really corporate. A lot of law firms today, you know what I mean? The DA's office wasn't hiring because Schwarzenegger had cut back 10% of the workforce in the county jobs.
I think Miguel was affected by that.
Yeah.
He was a 10%er.
So they had told me, the Riverside DA had told me, like, hey, we can call you like in a year and give you a job, but right now we can't.
Sure.
So an agent had come talk to our school, and I literally called him like 6 straight days in a row, like, hey, bro, you got like a job or an internship or something I can do?
Persistent, man.
Yeah. And he finally, he let me start working for him, and I just started really, like, I guess for lack of a better term, like shadowing him or being his little minion. Like, I was just trying to be with him all the time and learn the ropes. And things didn't really work out with him when I finished the bar. He didn't do the things he promised. And so my dad said, look, I'll loan you $2,000. Go form an LLC, move back home, get a job at Outback, work nights, be an agent during the day. And if things don't work out in a few years, that law firm job will still be there. Don't worry.
You hustle, dude. I
Yeah,
read
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I read, so I'm blown away by it. It's like
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire,
Yeah.
Who's coming with me?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, like, if you look at some shorts, like if you look at like when Nick Diaz fought like Paul Daly, like I made those shorts in my parents' living room.
You kidding me?
No way, really?
Like I was getting so frustrated because there was like the sport was so young, right? So like there really wasn't no established like printers. Like you can't really say, hey, I need like 6 logos on shorts. Like no one knows what the heck you're talking about.
Sure.
They don't realize like, hey, if this logo is an inch small, they're gonna dock you some pay. Like, so my dad went out one day on his day off and like got the plotter, got the heat press and everything. I came home. He's like, we're just gonna do this then.
Your dad's the man.
Yeah, and I was like, really?
I
He's
love
like,
this guy already.
yeah, we're just gonna do this. So a lot of those shorts, like my first UFC fight I ever had was Ruben Duran from out here, another SGV.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and like my dad spent like 6 hours on his shorts.
Oh, dude.
I framed them for Ruben and everything. Like it was a special for us, But yeah, we were printing them in my dad's house. Like I was literally working, 8 to 5 at the as an agent, and then I'd go hustle some cash from 610 because in 2009 the economy crashed. No one's giving me a loan at all. There isn't a bank in the world that's gonna. After that thing
There
tanked.
were no banks at that time. They had to bail the banks
Yeah,
out.
so I literally was in a crapshoot. I'm lucky my dad like kept my overhead low. I was still driving a Hyundai with like 250,000 miles on it. Like, yeah. And he literally just said, hey, just if you don't try this, you're going to regret it. If at the worst case, I had a law firm offers, you can go there at any time. That'll always be there.
Very cool.
So he was super cool to do that for me. I try to thank him a lot for it now.
I'm sure of it.
Oh, of course,
Because back then the sport was still like a show maybe once a month, once every couple months. You didn't know that it was going to...
It wasn't like the legitimate thing it had become, that's for sure. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you really
it wasn't
didn't-
up there with the NFL.
Not even close,
Right.
Like, I just loved it. You know what I mean? I was training every day, and I thought, man, this would be cool to help these guys out. It was still like, because I grew up in the baseball scene, and like Scott Boras, a couple of days, they're going to own that market. That market's pretty locked in. It's hard to compete.
Good luck with that, yeah.
But MMA was a market where it was still like the wild, wild west. Like you could make a dividend, you can get in it and make your mark.
Sure.
So that was good. I was excited. So
It's good that you had that understanding too, coming from baseball.
yeah.
Knowing exactly how to target.
Yeah. I'm lucky. Like, I mean, like my first fight, I think I lost $400. Like, I was so excited that I didn't even like know the pay really. The guy was like, yeah, it's like $300 to show, $200 to win for LaRon to fight Key in the Cage in Colorado. And I was like, cool. I didn't think about like hotel or travel. So I drove him out there like 12 hours. Like he won. I was so excited he won. I left the arena without getting the check. I made so many like rookie mistakes like on that fight. It was horrible. I was like, oh, this is brutal.
Yeah, coming out too bad. The $400 of a loss. It's not a big deal. And you kind of live it. Like I read your mission. It's like 80,400 seconds. You know what I mean? And you're living that. I love that in a day.
Yeah.
Don't waste a second.
Yeah.
You gotta love that. That's a good thing to live by.
I think to be a fighter, you're not doing this for cash. You're doing it because you love it, and they really crunch a lot of time in their day. You know what I mean? They're really
Absolutely.
so for me. Like I have to be jumping out of bed in the morning too with them. Otherwise, if our struggle isn't the same, they're not going to respect you. I feel like.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask. You know, you have the fight background, you know, with Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, I'm sure some boxing.
Yeah.
Talking to your fighters and people that you represent, they know you know that grind.
Yeah, you know, I even fought pro once. I just went out there and did it just to try it. I won. You know, I definitely would love to compete more, but you know, I'm always gone at these fights, and I really took off. You know, but I do feel like that's important. I feel like you don't want to be an agent that's just like has like a board on the wall, like okay, he's got to fight, he's got to fight, he's got to fight. You know what I mean? You really need to sit back and kind of like analyze the fights. You know what I mean? Like I have great partners, like Jeremy, like he fought 4 or 5 times. Tyson Charlie is a black belt. He fought, you know, I think he fought like 10, 12 times. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we're like picking each other's brains. I mean, like Tyson's amazing at it. I call him up or watch films on like, you know, his guys' opponents. He does this. He always drops his left hand. I mean, he like breaks it down. And obviously you can't avoid everything in the sport. It's a margin of error. Like it's so small, but you won't have a bad night's sleep if you're doing your due diligence. And the client feels special, right? When I call him and say, hey, the UFC called, we have this opportunity. I've watched his last 3 fights. Here's how I think this thing can go. Here's what our team felt like. Then he thinks like, wow, this guy really gave a shit about me, right? It wasn't like, hey, bro, I got you a fight. Here, take it. Here's the contract.
Yeah,
you know
I'm
what
sure
I mean?
that gets done out there too.
Or per se, the more stereotypes that a bad agent has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I feel like where a lot of, I think where agents get a bad rep, or like where some of them, you know, go wrong is just the communication aspect. I feel like if you look at some of the better agents in the game today, it's communication. I'm not going to promise that this road's always going to be smooth. You know, there's going to be definitely a lot of bump in the roads. They're not going to be the end of the road for us, though, and I'm going to be there with you every step of the way. It's really kind of how you have to position yourself with the client, because things come out of left field all the time. You know, like
oh, of course,
the emotional ups and downs, the career you're focused on. You know,
your guys getting injured. Yep, injuries. I was about to say that
because the emotional roller coaster, like, it's too much. All my clients are based out of here, and like I need a couple days with my fiance to just kind of decompress, because it's such the highest high and the lowest lows, and they're paying you to be rational so they can be emotional. You know what I mean? If they're looking at you for the next step, whether it be a positive step forward, right? If they have won or if they've lost, like Jason, how to rebound from this? You know, I mean, you got to constantly, you know, it's tough when you're in people's corners. You know, it's tough. You know, that high. You know, people always make what do you call it, the memes of me like jumping up and down in the corner, but it's like it's hard not to get caught in this. You know what I mean? Like
it's probably an awesome thing, though. You know what I mean? Who gets to experience that? You know?
No, it definitely is. You know, I feel like our agency is really blessed, because we really join a lot of fighters early in their career. If you look at a lot of the guys that we've had them since, you know, the battle in the barns where they're fighting for Hat Meals and Cokes, and if they win, they get the toy. And I'm making zero money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just investing my time and energy in him, hoping that he, you know, pursues his career. But yeah, to get to those points, like, I mean, even this year alone, like, how about Joe Soto? Joe Soto had lost 3 straight fights.
Oh man, that's right. I mean?
He was on a thing, you know, like Sean Shelby with us. He was very nice to give us a 4th shot. You know, it's not very. I mean, yes, he did fight the first round of the title fight. You know what I mean? Joe did do a solid there. You know,
that's right.
And step up and be a warrior. But you know, Sean was great to do that for us. But for him to show up and get that win, then take a Mexico fight in 5 days' notice and get a win. I mean. This is a guy maybe a year ago was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to provide for my family here.
I was actually just about to say that. I remember when, I mean, not saying he was at a low point, but it was to where he was no longer on top at like Bellator. I remember back in the day, you know.
I mean, we definitely had to have a talk with him, like, hey, Joe, you got to come down to Team Oyama in Irvine. We got to get you down here, you know, get you going. And I mean, now look at him. I mean, he's looked phenomenal these last 3 fights.
That's right.
I mean, he's turned around completely. He's made a solid living for his family. He's got 2 beautiful kids, an awesome wife. I mean, to help that rise, you know what I mean? It's been great. I mean, I think his fights are some of my most favorite moments in life. You know, like when he took a fight on, I mean, he literally took a fight on 5 days' notice in Mexico. Like, you talk about a guy that's anytime, anywhere. Like, that's insane. Like, I called him Sunday. We're flying out Monday. Like, literally, like, him and his dad drove down here, you know. My wife,
I forget, too, that he's from Northern California, right?
So he came down here. My fiance's, like, cooking us dinner. We're, like, making it real quick, you know. And, I mean, look at Chito Vera. Chito Vera's from Ecuador. He moved out here February of 2016. He lived with me for 3 months. You know, got him his fights. Now in 1 year he got 3 visas for his wife, his 2 kids. He's got his own apartment now. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Just made a $50,000 bonus off the Brad Pickett head kick KO. I mean,
that's amazing stuff, dude.
Yeah, so to help these guys, I mean, it's really
talk
awesome.
about a
you know what
high. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's more just being part of their journey because a lot of these guys have great stories. Even I don't know if you guys know, but Team Oyama right now has like a huge Latin group of athletes right now. They have Diego Rivas from Chile. They got Claudio Puelles from Peru. They got Fernando Padilla from Chihuahua. I mean, they got Cheeto. I mean, they got a large Latin community that are basically leaving their families to come up here. I mean, it's amazing to see what they're doing out there right now.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
it's awesome.
Is that something that's happening that you see in Latin America and South America? That the sport itself is blowing up?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I was just with Diego yesterday, and he was saying that all over Chile, like he's all over the papers and TV. Like, I mean,
cool.
he's got thousands of people behind on him. And I always feel like the Latin American community, I mean, I think we've always been big on combat sports. We love boxing, you know what I mean?
Boxing's so ingrained. I don't
That's
know
right,
that
yeah.
people understand what the ground is,
Yeah.
or even Muay Thai. They might think it's karate stuff,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But
it's changing.
But I feel like once they have their own in the cage, they're gonna be supportive. They're gonna,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They're gonna be
That's
loyal
the
to
key.
their.
They're
to
very
their people.
nationalistic. You're right.
Yeah, so I feel like
Absolutely.
I think the UFC's done a good job. A couple seasons of Latin America, tough Latin America, and I think these athletes, seeking different like for example in Ecuador, there's no MMA promotions.
Yeah, who do you train with?
Exactly.
All
yeah.
of Cheeto's fights were
in different countries. Okay.
Brazil,
Can
probably.
you imagine like your first pro fight? I said, hey bro, your first pro fight, you got to go to Brazil. You'd be like, Jason, are you serious? Like, you know what I mean? There's
I can
nothing
only
in
imagine, yeah.
one city over or
Yeah.
2 cities over. Like, you got to put me like some other guy's backyard.
Yeah.
And you really don't have much. What's your leverage at that point? Because if you're here, if you're fighting locally here and you sell 100 tickets, well, I have a lot of say now in who we're fighting, right? Because promoter wants your $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in ticket sales. You're in Brazil, it's like, hey bro, you're getting this guy that's like, 18-4. Like, sorry, you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Like
You get no choice.
Yeah,
It's a different ballgame
He was
entirely.
paying the local accountant and the local attorney to spar with him every week. Like literally.
Really?
Like, no
No way.
It was just him and his coach. Yeah. If you go and watch his first couple fights, it's him and his coach in there every time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Like after the London loss, like he literally like changed his ticket and came with me. He's like, I'm just gonna come home with you. I'm like, what? He's like this can't keep happening. I'm just gonna come with you. We'll find a gym. We took him to a few different gyms. He ended up at Oyama. It really clicked well there for him. And
Sure.
I mean, that's crazy, right?
That's incredible.
I couldn't imagine just going like, hey, I'm just gonna go to like Chile right now and like, hey, can I train at your gym? Or you know what I mean? Like, I don't speak the language.
Yeah.
I don't have the proper visa. I mean, I literally have a license. I mean,
How do you develop as a fighter too in those other countries? Is my thing.
it's tough.
Brazil, I get it. It's full of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But Peru, Bolivia, who knows where else, right? Chile.
Exactly.
So, like in their case, so what do you look for, say, in somebody who's trying to upcoming talent, if you would? Because I take it some people approach you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, it's a blessing now, that definitely that we get contacted. I remember days where I'd send out 100, Facebook messages and maybe get 4 replies back. So it's good to be at a point now where things are different. For me, I'm really big on their character. I feel like you can teach punches, you can teach kicks, but if you're really talented and you have no character, your talent's going to take you places your character's not ready to go. And that's where you've seen some athletes in our sport, I won't name names, they're in great positions, but they're just constantly fumbling because their character's not ready to go. So for me, to invest time away from my family, like their character has to be there. You know what I mean? Like
That's cool.
you need like great guys. I'm lucky. Like I have Albert Morales from Hawthorne. I mean, I love that freaking kid. I mean, that kid's done everything we've asked him to do, and he is so successful because of his work ethic. Like every time I don't know if you guys follow him, but if you want to see someone that's always in the gym, it's him. On Instagram, he's like videoing everything. Just got done wrestling.
That's pretty cool.
Just got done training, and he made it to the UFC in 6-7 fights.
Unreal.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like Chris Thiago is another guy from Hawthorne that I've represented him now we just did our 3rd contract together. I think 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's been amazing. I have great guys, great guys here that have been amazing to us. Ian McCall I've had him for 7 years.
Henry
now.
Corrales.
Henry Corrales. Yep. Where's he at? That's right.
I mean, dude.
Cisco.
Yep.
Henry Corrales.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's another guy, right? That was got on a skate a little bit there. You know what I mean? Was stepping up.
Who's killing it in King of the Cage.
But same thing, like you said. I remember when he was here, and even before that. I mean, how he mentioned, he's like, I just call it Jason. I'm like, dude, give me that fight with Pitbull. Like, I'll step up.
Dude,
Let's do it.
I was out Montanus in San Dimas. I was in Montanus visiting some old college buddies. I love country bars. I was at Montanus. And Henry calls me. And Henry calls me. I know it's important. You know what I mean? 'Cause we text a lot. He reads a lot of books. We read a lot of the same books together. And he called me. And he is not lying. Get me that fight. I was like, what? I was like, well, I gotta do. He's like, just get it for me.
It's a lot of heart.
And
Yeah.
he is. I mean, he got the name OK for a reason because he's anytime anywhere. Okay. You know,
I think we should switch that to KO personally. But
I agree.
Because when I first met him, and he said, and I went on Shirt Dog, I was like, that must be backwards. It must be Henry KO.
Yeah.
And then he told me the story, like they used to always say, like, okay. But I mean, I think his mind is his best asset. The one thing that attracted to me about Henry is that guy wants it so. I mean, like there's some fights I'm like, oh, I don't know, and he has a look in his eye, a fervor that you're like, no, Jason, I was meant to do this. Are the fights I want. I've waited my whole life for these. I mean, he really wants the big ones. He wants them.
I love that.
I mean, he believes in himself so much, and I think that's crucial. And I think he's had so much success just by how big his heart is on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I had mentioned too. I mean, I knew him from we were younger a little bit, and I mean, I could just remember. Nothing scared that guy. You know, whether it was like a backyard fight or just some dude approaching him. You know what I mean? Like nothing scared him.
When people ask who's the most calm guy backstage, it's
him.
It's a tie between him and Mike Richmond. You know,
really? Wow. Okay.
Both those guys are like this.
Yeah.
Like day at work.
Like just 2 minutes. Okay. Like Henry would be straight sleeping. And there's some guys throwing up their lunch in the bathroom, and Henry's over here all like on nap time, just like, oh yeah, just wake me up a few minutes, wrap my hands, we'll be good.
I asked him too. I fought last year, and I was like, dude, I'm like, how can you just sit there straight face? And he's like, oh, it's just a fight, dude. And I'm like, dude, I'm like sweating my ass off, dude. I'm like, crap, And he's like.
I think Henry draws a lot of peace though because he doesn't leave any stone unturned. I mean, his discipline, like from his nutrition to his training. I mean, Eddie Chaw, who's a great friend of mine, family to me. We've worked with a lot of fighters here. He's a great coach. He moved to the lab in Arizona, and Henry just like straight packed up and like didn't even like.
Think
that's what
twice.
It takes, That's what it takes for me to be successful. Fine,
let's
I'm
go.
To Arizona.
Yeah.
Like not even most guys would be like, I like it here, my friend. No, I'm going. Like he's super dedicated. So to answer you guys' questions, like I'm lucky. I have great guys. I mean, I love working for all of them. It's always a pleasure. We just booked Henry a fight, and I'm real excited for it. He's going to come back in Bellator soon here.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, other than character, I mean, is there what as far as them approaching you? I mean, what are the I guess what I'm trying to get at is
for a string of wins. What do you?
What do you look for? Yes. Other than character, I mean.
I guess it's different strokes for different folks. So it's like if he's 2-0, 3-0, you're kind of seeing where he's at right now. If he's 6-0, 7-0, obviously you're thinking, okay, this guy's probably a prospect. You just need to fight the right guy and get in. You're kind of just analyzing where they're at, what team they're with, how they're training. You know what I mean? Some guys can get by fighting Sister Mary the Blind from Idaho and rack up a few wins real easy, and you're like, you know what I mean? You kind of want to see what kind of grit they have in their teeth, just the type of person they are, how they vibe and how they do things. Because for us, we're gonna have to lay a foundation with you before you get to the show, right? I like to work guys before, because say you're 10-0 and I know you're a phone call away. There's a lot of work to do, when you get to the UFC. It's a huge jump up, social media wise, interviews, traveling. Passports, visas. Like half the shows are overseas now. Like for me, I like to get someone young. And so that kind of that foundation, I know how they function. I know what they like. You know what I mean? Like I know like Bobby Green after weigh-ins, he wants Green Machine. That's all that guy wants to drink after fight. You know what I mean? I know how some people want to be left alone. Some people want a lot of attention. Some people like to co-wait in a sauna. Some like to do in the bathtub. If we're in Brazil and there's no bathtub in that hotel, I got to rent another room for the day to get one with the bathtub. That means a different hotel, then so be it. You just have to understand your guys, because as you guys know, if you go in the first fight of the UFC and you lose, say you're 10-0 and you lose your first fight.
Yeah.
Now you're dealing with, oh my God, I lost for the first time in my life.
He's in his head.
It's in his head. But two, it's like, if I lose one more time, I'm cut.
I'm out. Yep.
Deep in
That's
his head.
right.
So you really, I really like to get to know my guys on a good level. You know what I mean? So that way, it's like clockwork. You know what I mean? I know how he wants it. You know what I mean? Like Louis Smoka in Vegas, in Russell. Like I could literally tell you what they're going to order. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner from Whole Foods. Like I have it timed out. They're 3 hours behind me most of the year because of Hawaii. So they're going to sleep in probably till 9 or 10 at least. You know what I mean? So that gives me time to get up, to get my workout in, go to Whole Foods, get the omelets. You know what I mean? Do everything how they want to do it. And just stay on point for them to make their day a little bit easier.
That's a pretty hectic thing, man.
Yeah,
And I honestly, I didn't.
Seconds in the day thing with
Yeah,
you. Every second.
No, I gotta get up before every morning.
I was actually gonna ask what a day in the life.
So I get up at 4. I'm mostly reading like 2 or 3 books at a time. Definitely just trying to keep reading different things on sports psychology, the mind, everything for the guys. I train either like I lift or do boxing or jiu-jitsu, but mostly like Jiva does jiu-jitsu like at 6:30 in the morning, so I can bang that out, get that over with. And then at 8, I start texting. I like to, by 8 a.m., I usually text like 8 to 10 clients every day, right there in the morning, just to get those feelers out. How you doing? What's up? Talk to me.
Key.
What's good? Yeah.
I don't like to go a couple days. Like guys will tell you, like I try and touch them at least once or twice a week. You know what I mean? Even if it's just, hey, what's up? You know what I mean?
Nice,
Hey, did
nice.
you catch that game last night? Just to see how things are going, because you never know, man. It could be a bad breakup, right?
Oh,
right in the
man.
middle of camp, or
For
it could
real.
be, hey, Jason, I'm struggling over my weight cut, or it could be anything.
Family
Hey,
stuff.
I need some new puffy MMA gloves. Okay, cool. Don't worry, I'll get that out to you. It could be anything. You know what I mean? But you just they want to know that you're going through that struggle with them. So, and then from the day, honestly, I think my fiance can tell you this. It's kind of I have to be so good on 4 to 8 a.m. because once the clock, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, I missed my flight, or Jason, I just popped my back. Can you take me to the dock? Or you don't know what's gonna come up. You know what I mean? And once you put a bunch of calls out early in the morning, they start coming in. Promoters and
Going
different
to work.
sorts. Exactly. So I really try to. For me, I feel like the phone is key, because if you miss a call, it's an opportunity, right? I mean, promoter calls.
Oh, of course, yeah. Right.
If the UFC calls, they're very busy people. You know what I mean? Like Sean and Mick have very, very difficult jobs. I have a lot of respect for them. So if they're giving me their time, I better answer that damn call and pitch who I got to pitch, or get the fight that I want.
Somebody else will pick up that call. You got to get that call.
Yeah, exactly. So I think those are things. Like last week, I think we were in Vegas for tough tryouts. Got back home, went to another fight. You know what I mean? Like, it's just constant grind.
Back and forth.
Like I've had my car for, I think 5 years in August, and I have like 250,000 miles on it already.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Jeez.
It's a lot of back and forth.
That is a lot.
That's
Yeah.
like what, 3,000 or 4,000 miles a month. Or
Your
something?
home is the road, in other words.
Yeah.
So like when you're gone overseas, how often? What would you say is like the average that you're gone?
Man, I'd say I average about 2 weeks a month. I'm looking at my fiance. She's called BS on me right now.
She's very understanding.
I would say I would say like 2 weeks a month. But I mean, like June's gnarly, right? Like I leave June 5th, go to New Zealand.
It's back-to-back fights in June.
Yeah,
too,
then I don't even go home. I go straight from New Zealand to Singapore. I think I go home for 1 day, clear my luggage. I go out to New York for Brent Primus' fight for Bellator's fighting the title. Then I go to Oklahoma for Marvin Vittori's fight. Then I'm taking a week for vacation with my family in Cabo. But then I come right back into fight week. We have Rob Font and Drakkar Close fighting. And then I don't know if you guys heard about the new UFC Challenger Series. Have you guys heard about that?
Actually, I have not. No.
Okay, so there's a new series that Dana White's doing. It's Tuesday nights. It's going to be 8 straight weeks, starting July 11th. And basically, they're going to put like 4 or 5 fights on, and it's all the top prospects.
Wow. I can only
So-
imagine how. My opinion.
It's like a one-off. So it's like
Yeah,
basically
okay.
if you win, you
You
got the
gotta
opportunity to get picked up. But if you lose, it's a one-fight deal. It's not like it's not a typical UFC contract. Like,
Yeah.
so
No, that's cool because don't leave it for the judges, right?
yeah. So I
Get
mean,
out there and throw.
we have some guy. They haven't announced it yet, so I can't really say. But we definitely have guys coming up on that. But it'll be like July 11th, July 18th, July 25th. So we'll be in Vegas a lot in
We'll
July.
be all over that.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for some of our clients. Let's just say that some of these guys are getting a second go, so that or second chance to.
Nice.
So I'm
Okay.
really excited for that. And
That's another good thing to hear because there's only one opportunity usually in the world for you to make it.
I try and explain to these guys, like, man, when you're 38, 40 years old and you want to retire and do whatever, eat ding dongs, Twinkies, cupcakes, Fruity Pebbles, whatever it is you eat.
Everything I eat.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
like go ahead. But I mean, for this time period, you really. Yeah,
Focus.
I feel like
Stay focused, yeah.
MMA is like a jealous girlfriend. If you cheat on her, you cheat that girl, and she'll burn you bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's like one of those things where you get caught sleeping.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not like football, right? Like, Tom Brady has a bad game. He throws a couple interceptions. He goes home to Giselle. Life still goes on. He plays next week. I mean, you ever get knocked the fuck out in front of 1 million people? Let me tell you, it sucks.
You can't say it enough because it's fast twitch.
I can only
Muscle
imagine.
memory.
Yeah.
It's those things.
I think getting
Yeah.
knocked out in
Put
front
it
of
in
like
your
2
body.
people is a pretty shitty feeling, you know?
Yeah, you
Get
know.
knocked out. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the worst, you know. I mean, I feel like I know sometimes they can't really show too much of the locker room. I know the UFC's done a little bit lately, but I wish people could see that dynamic, like the tension in the locker room before a fight. I've thrown up before fights. When Joe Soto fought for the world title, I threw up probably 3 times. Like in my mind, I was thinking like, man, is this the right decision? Like I was second guessing a lot. I'd be lying to you if I told you I wasn't. And I just got done throwing up. I'm walking by where El Hawani does his little the little Fox Sports interviews after the fight. I'm walking by there and I go to Joe's room and Joe's like laughing. And I'm like, dude, what's this fool laughing about? He's like in his Henry Corrales state, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you laughing about? I was like, bro, he's like, my grandkids are never going to believe this shit. I just took a title fight on 24 hours notice. And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, you think Dana would give me a DVD of this? I'm like, bro, I think they'll give you like 30 DVDs if you want, you know? But it made me feel like, calm me down a lot because in my mind I'm thinking like, damn, if he's this relaxed and he's understanding it for what this is, a good moment,
That's right.
then for us, you know.
Big moment. Yeah, exactly.
He didn't even blink.
Know? That's pretty cool.
He didn't even blink. When we sat down with Joe and Sean that day to discuss him fighting for the title, he didn't, like, I'll do it. Like, didn't even, like, I don't think they finished the sentence. Like, I'll do it. Like, he was...
That's focus.
It is. Where most guys would be like, oh, well...
That's what you train for every day.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised, though, in the sport, you get that sometimes. And I've learned that if a fighter hesitates, don't do it.
Yeah.
If for any reason... And I'm not saying he didn't want the fight. It could be he knows he's gotten some stuff going on at home. Maybe, you know, things with this shoulder. You know, you never know. I'm not saying it's because they don't want to fight that certain opponent. But sometimes when you can see a little, like... hey, things aren't right now, whether it be job-wise or family-wise or health-wise. Hey, don't do it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's an incredible balance that you have to have together in order to get in there and perform properly.
It's mental.
You know,
the whole thing is, I mean, like, my fiance could tell you, like, I'll text her during the week, like, she'll tell me, how's it going? I can always tell when things are going to be, like, my dad used to tell me, like, he could always tell when I'm having a good game or a bad game. Like, you can tell, like, I knew you're going to play well. Like, I can tell, like...
That's pretty but you're going to have a...
Well, yeah. I can feel it. When my guys, like when Soto's on and we're joking around, I'm like, oh.
That father-son thing, yeah, that's an amazing thing that they can see that in you.
Oh,
my son says it to me. He's like, dude, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Just by the look on your face.
Yeah. My dad would always tell me before like a game, he's like, yeah, I think you did great today. I'm like, you sure? And he's like, hey, you better knock your attitude off. You're going to play crap right now. I was like, wow, really? But he had me in my head a little bit. It's like, oh, man, like, but he could always tell, you know, so.
I love that. That's that psychology thing you talk about. You read about it, but it exists in so many levels.
Yeah.
You know, that's very cool.
And not just in fighting, but in other sports. You know, like you had mentioned you're a big baseball guy. I love baseball as well. And you know, you get guys like they pitch in Game 7 of the World Series, and they got the bases loaded, and they give up that walk-off home run, and it's over. And then you're just like, oh man, I forget. The one that sticks out to me is, for example, was it Maury from the Angels? I don't know. I mean, I was a kid when that happened. It was like '88 or something. You know. Pitched a bad game, tried to come back from like, the season afterwards, had a shitty season, ends up killing himself. You know what I mean? All because, God forbid that happens to
baseball is like could be a very head case game. You know, we all go through those slumps. You know, like I almost quit baseball my sophomore year in high school. I went 0 for 16 at one point. I never hit a slump my whole life. I went 0 for 16.
Wow.
I was like on suicide watch for probably a couple hours.
You were young, like dealing with it.
I had a batting cage in my backyard. I had a wrestling match. So like for me not to hit the ball, like that was the one thing I could do in my high school. Baseball's tough like that. You know, and sports are tough when you hit those streaks. You know, I think too, like. At least I feel like with baseball, you know, if Trout goes 0 for 4, he's not stressing because tomorrow night, he's you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine what's like Soto loses a title fight in August, okay? Doesn't get to fight again till June, loses.
Yeah.
So he almost won a year, loses again.
It's a lot of time.
Doesn't get to fight till January, loses.
Yeah, loses, yep.
You know what I mean? Like
way harder.
These guys, you know. Or you have guys right momentum. Like remember Albert Morales? Like he banged out like 4 or 5 wins in a matter of months.
Yeah,
and he was like moving up quickly. You know what I mean? But so it's kind of like a which way you're riding that wave. You know? I mean, it's crazy to see how the sport goes like that.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
I guess that's the role of the agent to keep them going. I mean, I don't really see that part until you bring it up. I'm like, whoa.
And not just that, I honestly didn't know you actually did all that extra, that you just talked. I'm not,
We have a great team at our agency. Like, I mean, Jeremy does a lot of the day-to-day stuff that allows me to kind of go out there and be the front man and to do those things. Like when you have a system in place, like we do, like everything. I mean, I can access every file in our agency on our phone. Like he's created all this, he's done all this, and this is all Jeremy does. This is how he feeds his family. This is how Tyson feeds his family. You know, we have Ed Cap does all the PR for us. You know what I mean? That's how he feeds his family. So we're all in this, you know what I mean? Like, we have a long group chat, and we talk a lot of shit and stuff. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you know, but I mean,
It's good to have a good team.
yeah, you know, but I mean, they really, you know, like, I couldn't, like, we had, like, I think it was 8 or 9 UFC athletes go to Japan for the Air Force seminar that we booked for them, and I couldn't go. And Tyson went and killed
our
Did
baseball.
an amazing job. I mean, and he hadn't seen, like, you know, he never worked with Andre Feely or Cheeto or, you know, Ian McCall and some of these guys, and he handled that week perfectly for us, you know. So, you know, I think the good thing is I have a good team, but I think it's also the hardest thing is, and you guys probably know some business, is finding people that you can work with.
You can work with, of course.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like In-N-Out Burger, right? The same In-N-Out Burger you're buying in Norwalk's, the same one you're going to get in Dime Bar, and that's what makes In-N-Out so damn amazing, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Certainly hope for that.
that's
Absolutely.
that's what I want with our guys. You know, like, I went to a wedding for a friend this past September, and it was Alvin Rouse's debut. It killed me not to be. I mean, it literally, like, I was having withdrawals, but Jeremy went and handled it for us. You know what I mean? Like, he took care of everything. I actually put a guy into the UFC while Jeremy was in Texas, and he did all the paperwork with the UFC at the hotel office.
Wow.
Like, so,
They're stepping up for you. I love it.
yeah, you know, we got
You
to
got to get a break.
No, you
At
do.
some
Oh,
point,
ultimately,
You do.
yeah. I mean,
do.
you know.
Jeremy's got, you know, 4 kids, and his son is a stud, you know, stud high school wrestler. I think he's like one of the top 10, 15 in the state right now. He's only be a junior, you know what I mean? So he's going to those tournaments, and Tyson's got a 1-year-old, and I got a fiance, so we all got to kind of share the load to, you know what I mean, you kind of balance it out. Otherwise, you know, because this roller coaster is bad, man. There's some losses I can't even talk for like a day. I'm like,
No, we know. I mean, we train with guys that go out, and, you know, you want the best, you hope for the best, you go through fight camp. You live it with them, and then, you know,
Even just
results are
even though
results.
they're the ones in there, I mean, you're the ones that's like
You're with
sweating bullets, you know.
I
Like,
mean, like how nervous were you during your fight? I mean, like, well, I mean,
To be honest with you,
the thoughts in your head. I mean, I can only imagine what's going through.
beforehand, I was actually kind of nervous. Right when I stepped in, believe it or not, everything's like, I'm like, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, you know. But everybody else was like, I get out and they're like, oh my god, you know.
All during that training camp, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have all sorts of like. I could remember a couple nights I would laugh about it. I'm like, I would wake up in the middle of the night and you have like combos in your head and you just like want to stand up and start shadow boxing, you know, and like work them, and then you're like, it is what I'm talking about, you know, and
I mean, my fans can attest to you. Like, I get calls sometimes, and I think I call them like reassurance calls, where I really feel like they're calling like, because it's on their head. I
Yeah.
mean, there's really like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the phone calls, I love guys, but I don't think there's a real purpose other than just, you know what I mean, like. So I've been thinking, and I'm gonna start off the first round. I'm gonna double jab. It is, you know, and they're like, yeah, bro. Like, I think that's a great, you know what I mean? Or,
Yeah.
or hey, no, I don't. I think maybe we should stick to this. But you can see it, like, they're randomly calling.
yeah.
You're projecting it, though. They're living it.
Do you know what I'm saying?
there in
Like,
that moment.
they're calling you 9:30 at night. It's because it's in their head, and I love it. You know, and I'm happy that they feel confident enough to trust me to call and do. You know what I mean? But it consumes you. It consumes
Oh, definitely,
you.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
consumes you.
Completely.
I think we all
Yep.
understand that, because you're always thinking about how many different ways can he come at me. So
Yeah.
you're prepping for those first moments. 'cause
And even
you're
that,
on
dude,
it.
like no matter how much you prep for it, they're always gonna throw something at you,
Yeah.
you know.
He's gonna shoot. He's gonna kick.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
Yeah.
he's gonna come at me.
You never know like what's going to happen, especially as the sports evolves. He may come out southpaw. He may come out. You don't know what's going to happen. You know.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that 6-week camp or 8-week camp they go through is just it's stressful.
Yeah.
It's super stressful,
Yeah.
and a lot of times too. Like I'm lucky. A lot of our clients have extremely understanding and patient families and wives and girlfriends that
It's a requirement.
you know because
That makes a big, you know,
it's
that's a
make or
huge
break.
part. Yeah.
It's a
It
make
is,
or break.
yeah.
It really is. I mean,
And
like
then your second family is your fight camp.
yeah.
You know, and if they're there for you, then it makes a world of difference. You know.
The thing is, I feel like what makes this sport beautiful, and I pray it doesn't change, but I'm sure as the sport becomes more business, it might, is that like it's all blurred. I'm a very black and white guy, but I'll tell you what, this agency is very gray. We spent all day yesterday at a barbecue with like 8 or 9 of our clients. You know what I mean? Like they're living with us at times. You know what I mean? They're always over. It's a very it's more.
Do what you
know?
gotta do.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's tough at times to, you know what I mean, because it just sucks. You know what I mean? Like like, I wish it was just a baseball game. Like, okay, I'll play one tomorrow. It's just like, oh.
No, I like that it is what it is. I like to hear that you're
Like Cheeto.
you're actually getting dirty with it.
Like Cheeto, like he fought a fight, right? So he had lost his last fight in February. Comes back from Australia. He had purchased the tickets for his family to come December 5th when his fight was November 27th in Australia with no apartment, no nothing. Like, think about that for a second. That's going to fall on me, which
Yeah.
you did. You know what I mean?
They're all sleeping at your house.
Yeah.
The whole family in the garage.
We found an apartment, got everything squared away right away, you know what I mean? But he went into that fight knowing that half his money was not going to be made if he lost.
Oh man.
Like, can you imagine, like, the pressure that week?
Yeah.
Like, I could see it in his eyes. Like, in his mind, man, that might have covered their plane tickets, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
half the fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, he really, like, he really gambled that day. That's what I was like, hey, bro, why don't you wait to buy the tickets till, like, after the fight? But, I mean,
Gambling on himself.
these guys have so much pressure on them. I think sometimes the fans don't understand. Like, there's so much at stake going on with this right now. You know?
Well,
So
we often know the American perspective, but when they're coming from other countries and countries that are less fortunate,
yeah.
there's so much on their shoulders.
Oh.
This is
Oh,
their
big time, man.
opportunity, right?
Big time.
I mean,
This is the light at the end of the tunnel.
they're the pride of their countries.
Yeah.
They're representing everything, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, they definitely got a lot. You know?
It's a crazy amount of pressure
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
up to a fight that means so much to getting their kids over here and their wife over here. I can't even imagine.
It's insane, you know. And so like definitely there's a lot of emotions riding, and like I said earlier, like that's why you're there to be rational, to guide them. You know what I mean? Even to make decisions as whether to see the doc, whether to get stitches now, because they're so like amped. Like I think there's been quite a few times where I've had to like almost quarantine a guy to kind of like let him get his
head straight or
bearings back. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because you're so like
Adrenaline.
in this state, you're going into this place in your mind. You know what I mean? Like you're scared to death. You're in that flight or fight response, right? I'm sure your cortisol levels are through the damn roof. You know, like so when they get done and you have everyone's like, I think sometimes you're like, hey, why don't you just sit down for a second, take a deep breath, decompress, and then we can go get stitches and go get the checks, go get cleared for the doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Go see
yeah.
your family because there's just so much, you know, going on. Where I don't feel like any other sports really like that. You know what I mean? You may
I
have a
can't
talk
even
with the
imagine.
coach, or you may, you know, hey, we should have done this, or in the fourth quarter could have done that. But
yeah, or you know what, you could have done that in this inning. And most guys, like you said, most guys are like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, no big deal.
You know,
You know?
in college, I was like, oh, I had a bad game Friday night. I got a couple beers. We'll come back Saturday. Don't matter. What we do.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Another
Like,
day.
coach, don't worry. We got this.
We got,
You
yeah,
know
we
what I
got
mean?
this.
Like,
That's right.
don't
We got
worry.
this. You know, can't really say that between. No. I
Yeah.
lost a 10-5 round.
Yeah.
Nah. I'll come back again. Oh, and you know.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Man.
Definitely.
So what's the future for Iridium? I noticed you guys have some football players in there too.
Yeah, I had an opportunity. We work with a really good marketing company that helps do a lot of sponsors for our guys and endorsements, and they're in the football space, and they kind of invited me on to help. You know, I think they like the person that I am, that I could be
Sure.
an asset to some of these guys that maybe aren't happy in their current situations and stuff. You know, it's going well. It's definitely I've learned a lot in the football space, and I really enjoy working with the athletes. I think too, you know, I think it's great that you have like a player association where the agents have to be tested, you have to qualify. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
That test was harder than bar. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That
can
test
imagine.
was harder than the bar exam. Like that thing
Wow.
was, I bared down for 2 or 3 months straight and was reading that book frontwards and backwards because that test was really hard, and I'm glad I got that over with.
Oh, of course. I can only
So-
imagine. Yeah.
But I think the future for Iridium is just to keep expanding and to keep investing back into the company. You know, I think it's one thing my father taught me is always, you know, double down back on the company. You know what I mean? Give
Very
it
cool.
back in, you know. So, like I said, Jeremy's been my right-hand man for years. He's my best friend. I love that guy to death. He's my ride or die. We have Ed Cap that we brought on the last year for PR. Ed actually said, hey, you know, you should meet Tyson from Top Game Management. I think you guys can merge together. And we ended up merging, you know. So
Pretty
we've
cool.
been
Wow.
putting ourselves in the right places to grow the company. I think, I don't know how long you guys have followed sports or you know, baseball or football, but it has to get worse before it get, you know what I mean? There's a lot of...
Oh, of course.
there's a lot
I mean,
of-
yeah.
Like, I knew when I signed up for MMA that this is going to be like a 30, 40-year project. You know what I mean? You're in this for the long haul. If you
Yeah.
look at where football was 25, 30 years in, you know what I mean? Like, it was
Sure.
not, I mean, it wasn't until the USFL came around that they finally started, backup quarterbacks started making money, and people started making, you know what I mean?
It's-
Like in the 80s.
Yeah, and then you had that baseball strike in like 90, was it 96?
Yeah, but think of baseball. So baseball was what, like early 1900s, right?
Oh, yeah.
It
Oh, yeah.
started-
Yeah.
Okay,
100 years
so
later.
Oh,
in-
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And 17 years.
yeah, so in the 1960s, they were still having winter jobs.
Wow.
So
That's right, that's
50
right,
years
yeah.
in. So you kind of have to see, like, people are like, oh, MMA is progressing. You have to understand, like,
It's infantile.
it's gonna take time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I'm lucky. I work with a group of people that we understand what we're, you know what I mean. That this is a long play for us. We're very excited. You know, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just
Awesome.
I'm not even just warming up. You know.
It's just awesome to hear that you're global
And just how,
already.
yeah, and not just
Yeah.
how involved you are with every. I mean, it's almost like each person. You know what I mean? That's.
Yeah.
I mean.
You really just have to have a deep understanding of your client. You know, I'm lucky. I feel like I have a lot of best friends, and I feel like I think it's great to be a part of another person's journey. I
Yeah,
really feel
definitely.
like we're helping people better their lives. You know, and that feels good. You know, I think it's when I was an attorney, it's kind of hard sometimes when you were working for. You know, I worked at a construction defect firm where I worked for like I was representing KB Foster, Perini. Like you're doing these type things. You know,
Yeah.
like. You're basically lowballing the homeowner. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Can we erase that from that part?
I mean,
yeah, we are delayed.
I didn't have the feeling I felt good. You know, like my dad divorced my mom when I was 2. My mom left. My dad ended up marrying my best friend's mom. We were always hanging out, and her husband had left her actually.
Uh-huh.
So they get married, and they don't want to have kids because they feel like it'd be their kid as opposed to us. And we were best friends. We're excited for bunk beds. They're like stepbrothers. Like,
Love
yeah,
that.
bunk beds. So much room for activities.
My son's too old for me to do this, but I like his thinking.
So they did this, and we raised 25 foster kids. So my whole life has been helping others. Like we literally had 8.
That's
foster
cool,
kids in our
man.
home
That
at
is
all
way
times.
cool.
He's
Yeah.
an amazing dude.
It was like bunk bedville in our house. You know what I mean? Like that, my dad literally was like, if we have space, you know, let's help people. So I thought being an attorney would do that. When it didn't, I'm lucky that MMA and sports has allowed me to at least feel like I'm helping people.
Helping other
You know what I
people,
mean? I
yeah.
feel like that there's a joy in that you
Yeah.
can't really.
There's a whole other side to Iridium I had no idea
Me
existed.
too. Me too.
Yeah.
I'm like totally
Yeah.
getting schooled, man.
Yeah.
Like for reals.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean it was gnarly. Like we started off with one, then like it was Koinonia Foster Homes. That was a group that we had worked with. They'd call and be like, "Hey, we noticed you have another bedroom. Do you want 2 brothers?" And like, "Hey, bring them." It was like remember like Dumb and Dumber scene, like, "Hey, bring them."
Oh yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Pick
Bring
'em
them in.
up. You know what I mean?
And there's
Like,
more
we're all
hitchhikers.
singing
Bring them
Bob.
in.
Yeah, we're all singing in the car. You know what I mean? Like, we'll just bring them out. You know, like went from we had like a Jeep Cherokee to like an Astro van in a matter of minutes. We had to switch cars. You know
No,
what I mean?
man,
Like, we had, like,
nice.
the big old van, you know. So yeah, and I think too, I'm blessed. My parents gave me that opportunity because when you have so many different cultural backgrounds, so much diversity in your home, when you're growing up with,
Oh yeah.
it's helped me to relate to a lot of clients from a lot of different situations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our clients are so unique in their own way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So and you're gonna have to. And people don't realize. Like, think about this. If you have, like, so we have 3 guys in New Zealand. That's 3 different
Wow.
ways of doing things, 3 different personalities.
Sure. Yeah.
3, you know what I mean? So you have to be on point and understand where that.
If they're Maori guys, they come from that background. If they're just Kiwis, you know, they have a whole different background. You
Yeah,
know?
so they're gonna have.
Their whole cultural background can be very different in New Zealand.
Yeah, so.
And they throw for different reasons. They still solve problems with their hands.
Yeah, so I mean, you're in a different
It's like
country. You're in a
Wow.
you're in a different country. You know,
Yeah.
You know, me and Vince Pichot, we just got an Airbnb out there. He's taking all these pictures of. I can't wait to get out there. I'm like, damn, this place looks awesome. You know,
Yeah.
so, but I mean, it's definitely different. You know what I mean? So you're working with a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of different people, and I'm just, I'm lucky that my parents gave me that at a young
That's
age.
pretty rad, man. That's
Yeah.
that's rad.
You're
That's
pretty diversified
yeah.
as a young
Yeah,
guy already,
yeah.
you know?
It was good. You know what was good? Laverne was good about that too. Laverne had a real good, like if you live in the dorms, they're real big on diversity and respecting other people, which I think we take for granted these days, but it's still an issue
Yeah,
in
I
society.
agree.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So
Big
when you're
time.
18, you have a college
It's a
that's
big
kind of
issue,
like,
yeah.
hey, you're all gonna get along right now. Like it
Yeah.
it really helped a lot. You know, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
wow. Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I'm getting totally schooled. So I mean, really, I mean, and again, I mean, no, you know, not trying to insult nobody, but I always thought of an agent as like just, you know, the typical like,
Set up fights.
yeah, that's it,
Yeah,
you know,
that's a
like,
fight, hey.
hey, I don't know, man, call me back later.
Bye,
You know what I mean? Yeah, this.
No, I think when you come from humble beginnings, like you just, I think the key to success is to keep being grateful. Like when you come from, like my dad bought me this little chalkboard, you know, and he like put masking tape. So like, hey, these are the fights for June, like, and they'd all fit on there at one point. It's like this big, dude. Like
Yeah.
my 4 fights I had going on for the next 6 months. You know, I was so small time, but I kept it as a token now because we have 75 guys on the roster right now. We have 20 in the UFC, another probably 8 or 9 in Bellator. I mean,
Wow.
we literally
Wow, man.
have like,
Yeah.
I think this month we have like 13 fights.
And
You know what I
what they
mean?
eat for dinner. It blows me away.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember what I ate for dinner.
Yeah.
You know how they like, you know, their breakfast and whatnot,
Yeah,
you know.
I
and
mean, you can't forget, you know, like I still have the iron that I used to iron on logos before my dad bought me the
Oh,
deep
yeah,
fries. Like,
yeah.
I still get just for it's in my office. I just keep it for steaks, just for like as a joke.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like,
Well, that's where you came from, man.
It's
Yeah,
like keeping
you
that
forget
dollar,
it.
the $1 bill,
yeah,
your
because-
business, you
but
frame it.
You
And,
can't forget that because we're blessed that so many of our athletes' career has taken off. But you still have someone. There's someone in your agency that's still feeling the first time that I felt at my dad's house, and I can't forget that.
Someone's still flipping that iron over.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
when Albert Morales got in the UFC that night, like I was in tears for that kid. I was so happy for him. Like, but in his first UFC, I knew like, okay, this is his first time signing all the UFC posters. You see people post pictures about getting your first goodie bag from Reebok. Like, those are very things that are very.
That's heavy.
You know what I mean? So you always have to be appreciative, and you can't overlook those things because, you know what I mean? That's where they're at. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If I'm watching your fighters, dude, I'm gonna be watching from a whole different perspective.
No, yeah, me too.
You
I
know
mean,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
We're all over that now.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so you just really have to be along for the ride and just appreciate everything because it's. I mean, the
Yeah.
sport's fickle. You lose.
That's
I mean,
good life advice, dude.
yeah.
You know?
I just try. I got a good dad. My dad, he helped me. My dad was. Check this out. My dad owned a company that sold all the Coke machines in McDonald's. So like in the early '90s in the boom, he did great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He woke up one day at 37 years old and said, "Hey, my life dream was to be a cop, and I can't tell you to chase your dreams if I haven't done the same. I haven't lived by example." So he quit his company. Like, he stopped the
Wow.
company. Just didn't even sell it.
And he was rolling.
Like just yeah, we're doing great. You
Yeah.
know, just folded up shop with all the foster kids, and joined the academy at 37 years old. Became a cop at 38 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so like
Just to do it.
yeah, so he like that is a real big thing. So he's always kind of kept me like, I probably call him at least 2 or 3 times a day because when you think you know it all, that's when you make mistakes. And sometimes like you need to pick brains. I try and pick Tyson's brain, Jeremy's brain, my dad's brain because you don't. You know what I mean? Maybe clients don't have about a certain thing about the short. You know what I mean? You always have to understand, like, okay, you know what I mean? Like,
You need a sounding board. You need
Yes,
people that are going
yes.
to
Yes.
keep you real.
I think that's the problem so much in business. Sometimes you get caught up in that where you're like, hey, like, you know it all. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
the boss. Let me make a
Nobody
decision.
knows
You
it
know?
all. You're right about that.
Yeah,
And the fact that, like you were saying, you're open to ideas and picking brains and everything when most
You gotta
guys up there already, like,
I mean, look how the sport evolves. I mean,
oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, every year, I mean, if you're not doing, you're getting left behind. I
That's
mean,
for
Yeah.
sure.
it's. I mean, even in the cage, I feel like these guys are getting only better and better now. You know, like.
Yeah. I mean, there were sluggers. There was guys like Kimbo Slice that were, fun to watch, but now it's so athletic.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different
Well, like
kind of
you
fight.
mentioned, you have your old fights like Tito and Chuck, and then now the one that actually sticks out to me right now still is, was it Edson Barbosa, where he did that spinning wheel kick on the dude, and even I think Joe Rogan had mentioned someone.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, these guys are actually putting these high-flying moves that nobody thought would ever
Yeah.
work, and they work, and
Yeah.
they're getting crazy highlight reel knockouts, and
I was actually at the last WC when Pettis did the kick against Henderson, and I
one.
feel like the crowd got quiet because we didn't know what we just saw.
Yeah.
Like when he did
Oh,
that
man.
kick,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like I remember, like it took me like when it went in between rounds, like to see the replay again. I was like,
Yeah.
what just happened? Like did that like you know what I mean? You're kind of like.
did he really do that?
Did
Yeah,
he
exactly.
imagine- is he
That's
the-
another one. Yeah,
is he from the
like,
Matrix? Like, you know
whoa.
what I mean?
For
Like,
real.
did he
Oh,
take the red
and
pill? Like how
Benson
did that
was
happen?
so good at that time too. For that to happen.
Ben's is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That guy's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
to
for
see
sure.
that knockout, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
dude,
I
what
actually
just
got
happened?
to do fight week with him. His last UFC fight, the one in Korea, I had Mike Delatorre on the card who won, and it was a great week for us. But Benson was also on the card. He's Mike's teammate, so we got to do everything the same. And man, I'm tell you what, there's a reason why that guy was champ for so long. He
WEC too, coming to,
he-
moving on over.
the way he does things is a consummate professional. Like I mean,
Sure.
everything.
He
Yeah,
lives it.
yeah.
Like everything from the way he ties every little detail. He's well thought out.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I don't think anything in him is unplanned. He really puts a lot of thought into everything, and it was good for me because I haven't had a champ yet. I'm sure that's coming up the chute soon.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man, that, of course.
But seeing how a champ conducts himself, you can learn a lot. And I definitely took a lot of notes that week, and picked his brain a lot because when our guys get the opportunities, you know what I mean? There may not be a Benson for them to kind of emulate, per se, or to see, you know what I mean? So, but, that guy's a stud.
Oh yeah.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's so good with fans. He's so good with people. I mean, one thing that really stuck after me, like after the fight, all he wanted to do was get his wife and his baby backstage. And he was literally feeding his wife while she was holding the baby while he was giving interviews. Like the guy is
Pretty cool.
the ultimate like family man. Like in my mind, like it just stuck out for me. Like man, this guy like he just won a fight, which most guys would be like, it's,
It's all about me. That's right.
Going to Sapphires.
And all he was asking is, hey, where's the food? My wife hasn't eaten because she's been taking care of my son all day all at the fight. I want to, like, he's literally like feeding her while she's holding the baby, like,
cool.
and giving interviews
I love this guy
about his
more
win.
now.
Like, talking all nonchalant, like, yeah, it was a good fight. Like, I'm just sitting there like, bro, I was so nervous. I was nervous for you, and I wasn't even in the cage. Like,
When we're done with this, Jessica Miguel's going to feed you.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Make sure.
Carry him up the stairs. He's going to feed you.
Thanks.
Too?
Since you work so hard.
That time I was single, I was like, oh, that's cool. We'll go home on this 14-hour plane ride alone. That's awesome.
Yeah. Right. And make my own sandwich.
Yeah. Is there any scrubs left over for me?
Yeah.
What's over here?
Yeah. Oh, man.
I know we're running close on time. We had a great hour of talk with Jason House.
I honestly wish we could talk to him some more,
Oh, yeah. No,
but
this has to happen again. We have to have a part 2.
yes, please.
Yeah.
That'd be
Anytime.
great.
Let's know what goes on in the next year or so.
Yeah.
But
Real quick, so we don't miss our other stuff too. Usually we have a segment specifically for street fights, but this being Memorial Day weekend, they're all probably going on right now. Is a nice barbecue's going on, and
we can hold off
an
for
uncle and a cousin are about to scrap. But we do have the next best thing. Since you said you were a baseball fan, anybody
Yes.
catch the Giants and the Nationals earlier today? I know we had a lot of day games. So,
throw it up there.
Mr. Hobberge, please, we got to see Bryce Harper in action because, other than hitting, monstrous home runs, I did see a nice crispy right hand from him.
I still think my favorite baseball fight was Ventura and Nolan Ryan when they went out.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorites.
I remember, Nolan Ryan's headlock just...
Nolan just chucked the glove off while Gangster, like, bring it.
Oh, man. I have to say the one that... speaking of which, even baseball fights have been evolving, Like, you remember the one from last season, Odor and Bautista? I mean, usually it was just like push and shove and...
Those are cross training.
down.
Those guys are cross
You
training.
know,
right?
Now they're actually like slugging it out. Bobby, where we at, dude?
I've been bringing some of my football guys to the gym, show them those 1s and 2s.
Oh, man.
Switch to camera.
It's coming up. Somewhere on that screen.
He's on Hawaiian time, folks. I'm sorry.
I know it.
It's all good.
This thing is just.
He's on that Louis Smolka, Russell Doan time.
Don't operate the mouse with your feet.
Don't forget that's the
I
camera.
had to admit to them once that I lied to them. I give them like a 30-minute grace period. I'm like, the UFC needs you at 9 o'clock. It's really like 8:30.
Oh, man. There we go. Are we going?
Wait, hold on. It's on the wrong.
Oh, that was the most that was horrible, though. That was horrible.
There we go.
Okay, here we go.
Coming
All right, let's see.
live.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay, look at that. Chandler, that's right. Yep.
Brent's been with Bellator since he was 2-0. So,
Is that Bellator 180 on the 24th?
Yes.
Big one.
Yes.
Big one.
Yes.
Son and Silva, Fedor Mitrione, Davis Bader, and then we got your guys.
Yes. Primus versus Chandler.
Well, you do got a couple guys going on the June 10th in Auckland, right?
Yeah, June 10th in Auckland. We got
That's the one you- okay, that's
Zach Otto. We got Vince Bichelle and Ben Wynn.
Is Mark Hunt headlining that?
Yeah.
Is he from Auckland?
Clinton Lewis.
I think he's
No.
from New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Is he? I thought he was Australian
No.
No, I
or
think he's from New
flying the
Zealand.
Australian flag.
Yeah.
Okay.
The king of the walk-off.
Oh,
God,
man.
Just walks away and doesn't. Oh, yeah.
Mr. Step into my office.
I love that, man.
And then what else we got, Nick?
And you got the Singapore one coming up right
Yeah.
after that.
The girl-
We
Girls
got
headline?
Russell Doan, and then we have John Tuck, the governor of Guam, right there in his finest, fighting Takanori Gomi.
Dude, not a lot.
No way,
professional
okay, wow.
fighters coming
Yeah.
out of Guam.
Really?
Awesome.
And he's fighting Gomi, man.
I joke around. I call him the governor of Guam because he's like the most popular guy in that island. Like
yeah?
he knows everyone. I mean, he knows everyone in California. If you go out with John Tuck, it's like hilarious. Like everyone's like, "Hey, John, how's it going?" Like bro, how do you know people better than I do in my own hometown? Like, how do you do this? Like, he's just a great person.
It's awesome.
That's cool. Okay, so what else we got?
And then right after that, you got the
Aldo Holloway.
was it Oklahoma City?
Yeah,
Oh, Oklahoma
we
first.
got Marvin Vittori on that card. Our the Italian Dream, training at King's MMA.
Man.
Yeah,
So he's a Huntington Beach kid.
yeah,
My hometown.
yeah.
Then you finally get to go on vacation.
To Cabo for 1 week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
I felt
nice.
bad. I told my dad we bought tickets for the 24th to leave, right? And then Bellator called, like, I kid you not. You want to fight, book guys? Book something, and then I tell you what, the promoters always call you. Hey, we got this world title fight, Madison Square Garden. I'm like, sorry, Dad, I'm coming the 25th. And UFC calls me, hey, Marvin Vittori, you want to fight in the 25th? I'm like, oh, sorry, Dad, I'm coming the 26th.
26. You just keep pushing it a day. But oh man, you mentioned fiance too. I mean, you gotta work out that wedding date too. You know,
she's going the 24th. I'm
you
like,
can't be like, sorry, baby, we're getting married on the 11th now. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. It's gonna be the 11th or the 12th. I'm sorry.
I had to tell Tyson and Jeremy, I was like, hey, I think she's looking at the fall. So guys, be ready because you're gonna have to step in for me because.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good times coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what? Anything else on tap we got, Bobbert? There.
That's it.
Man, well, thank you, Mr. Jason House, for joining us.
Thank you,
It's a
Jason.
pleasure.
I mean,
Yeah.
talking
Really
about
awesome.
picking a brain. I mean, geez. I mean, we got to go in deeper in yours because,
Yeah.
you know.
Anytime.
It was a learning curve, man.
No, really, I had no idea. Again, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
straight up, you know, real talk. I had no idea that Iridium does all of that. You know,
We heard the horror stories, is why you never hear the good stuff.
no, really, yeah, you know.
Uplifting
Agents
stuff.
always have the, you better wipe your hand after you shake our hands. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you get a lot of.
Oh, yeah,
a
no,
lot
of course, you know, and-
that's why we try and get the athletes early in their career, really build that trust, so that when
Yeah.
it comes time to the big decisions and things, everything's smooth. I know how they function, especially with the coaches too. I'm lucky to work with like Colin Oyama, Eddie Chaw, John Crouch. We have a lot of good coaches. Charles Kipley from Hawaii, he gave me all the Hawaii boys. I love those guys.
Very
I'm
cool.
lucky. Coach James, who does Albert Morales. I have a lot of good coaches that we work with. So.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, we wish you the best, definitely,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, thank
There's
you.
only one way up for Iridium, and that's definitely up,
I
all
hope
the way
so.
up.
I hope so.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, with again, your humbleness and everything else,
Yeah, you're the salt of the earth, man.
No, really. I mean, and again, I'm sure there's nobody else out there like that. So,
I'm lucky. Like I said,
You
I
know.
started working with a couple guys, and it led to the Henrys of the world and
Yep.
Christos of the world. I'm lucky. Like Henry's a privilege, man.
Yeah.
He's
No, we love him. Absolutely.
no, we do, yeah, and we've
Well, we
seen him
found that.
firsthand work really hard to get where he's at. I mean,
It's nice to know you got him.
I'm telling you, like that phone call. It's funny you bring that up because I source that phone call a lot to people. Like, if
Yeah.
you want a Henry Corrales bad, like call me up and like get me that fight. It wasn't even like, what do you think? Or
Yeah,
what are the
yeah.
odds? He was like, get me that.
give me that fight, yeah.
And he went in there and he was slinging him. Like he had
Yeah.
Pitbull
Oh, yeah.
hurt. Like Pitbull had to like.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we actually all had to get together and watch that because we're like, holy crap, like,
Yeah.
other than Strauss and Emmanuel Sanchez, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that to me that was like, I thought that was like bigger than
Yeah.
I'm like,
For us,
No.
it was big.
it was
our homie.
really big, yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
He's got a great fight booked. He will be on a Bellator card coming up here. It's a good matchup for us. I'm real excited.
Nice,
Real excited.
nice,
Very
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for
Awesome.
joining us.
Yep.
We appreciate
Thank
it. Thank you,
One
and
more time, Jason.
yes, we have to have a
Appreciate
part
Thank you guys
two.
for having me.
Cool.
Thank you.
That's it. Full Contact Fanatics.
Follow us, subscribe, please.
See
You know what I'm
next
saying?
Monday, 8 p.m.
Yep. Follow our Instagram, Full Contact Fanatics,
If you're a
FCF,
sponsor, thank you for being a sponsor.
Facebook. Peace.